Is now investigators of Valley Homes searched in connection to the Tupac Shakur murder investigation nearly 27 years after his death.
The cops had no idea what they were about to uncover in Tupac's garage. When investigators finally forced open the locked door in February 1997, 5 months after his murder, they expected to find nothing more than luxury cars or some recording equipment. But what they actually discovered inside that sealed garage would completely reshape the world's understanding of Tupac Shakur. More importantly, it exposed plans he had kept hidden from everyone, even those closest to him.
Police confirming they searched a home as part of their ongoing work to solve who killed the rapper and hip-hop icon.
The garage had been off-limits since September 1996, stuck in legal limbo while Death Row Records, his family, and multiple attorneys argued over who controlled what. A judge eventually ordered it to be open for inventory. When Detective Marcus Hendricks entered with his team, he immediately sensed something was off. This wasn't a storage area for a flashy celebrity lifestyle. The walls were soundproofed. Heavy-duty shelving lined both sides, and everything was neatly organized with labels and dates, as if someone were running a meticulous operation. And what sat on the main workbench would shatter everything people thought they knew about Tupac's final months.
Telling Bay News Now investigators this search involves Dwayne Davis, also known as Keef D. Davis speaking publicly about the night Tupac died in videos on YouTube and in a book.
3 thick black binders dominated the workspace, each one filled with hundreds of pages. The first binder contained movie scripts, but not scripts Tupac had been hired to act in. These were films he intended to direct himself. Inside were detailed production schedules, budget breakdowns, and casting notes written in his own handwriting. Everything indicated that he had been studying the film industry as if preparing for an entirely new career. One script, titled Thug Angels, focused on gang intervention programs. Attached to it were real proposals outlining partnerships with nonprofits and plans for community screenings where ticket revenue would be donated directly to youth programs in struggling neighborhoods.
Year-old Tupac Shakur shot 4 times inside this BMW in this intersection near the Las Vegas Strip in September 1996. He would die from his injuries 6 days later.
The second binder hit even harder. Page after page of financial records revealed where Tupac's money was actually going. It wasn't toward jewelry and parties like everyone assumed. Bank statements showed monthly payments to bail funds for young people locked up on minor charges. Receipts confirmed he covered legal fees for families who couldn't afford attorneys. Wire transfers proved he quietly supported literacy programs, mentorship organizations, and community centers throughout California. And none of it was public. No press releases, no interviews, no bragging, just silent help for people who needed it. One check for $50,000 went to a Watts literacy program just 3 days before he flew to Las Vegas. But the third binder held something else. Evidence of a plan that could have completely changed hip-hop history if Tupac had lived long enough to make it happen.
Murphy speaking exclusively with paramedics in 2016.
We brought the gurney up,
over,
just pulled them out.
Pulled them out. And that's when, everybody was yelling, Tupac.
Legal paperwork showed that Tupac was building his own record label, completely separate from Death Row. Corporate documents dated August 1996 proved he had already registered the name Machiavelli Records, filed for trademark protection, and begun discussions with distributors who could release his music without Suge Knight's involvement. Business plans outlined his vision, signing young artists, mentoring them, building a full production house with his own engineers and video directors, and creating something that would last beyond his own music. The evidence was undeniable. Tupac was preparing his exit from Death Row, and he was putting every piece in place to do it on his own terms. But he's happy it's happening, and he says he hopes it will bring more closure to the case. He even admitted he never thought any more steps would ever be taken. As investigators continued searching the garage, that's when they found the lockbox. It was tucked behind the filing cabinets, made of steel and secured with a code. After Afeni Shakur's lawyer provided the combination, they opened it and discovered a stack of mini DV tapes. Each one was labeled with dates ranging from July to early September 1996. When detectives played the tapes back at the police station, they saw Tupac sitting alone, speaking directly into the camera as if keeping a video diary. And what he said on those recordings would haunt everyone who watched them, because Tupac knew something bad was coming.
Happy it's happening, and he says he hopes it'll bring some more closure to the case.
I didn't think there'd ever be any more steps taken in this case.
The cops continued searching the garage, and that's when they discovered the lockbox. It was tucked behind the filing cabinets, made of steel and secured with a code. After Tupac Shakur's lawyer provided the combination, they opened it to find a stack of mini DV tapes. Each tape had a date written on it in marker, ranging from July to early September 1996. When detectives played them back at the police station, they saw Tupac sitting alone, speaking directly into the camera as if he were keeping a video diary. And what he said on those tapes would haunt everyone who watched them, because Tupac knew something bad was coming.
27 years old. I can tell you exactly why it happened. It's happened because of Keith D running his mouth.
The video entries revealed a completely different man than the aggressive figure seen in music videos. Tupac spoke about exhaustion, about feeling trapped by his own image, and about knowing the life he was living couldn't continue much longer. He talked about wanting to move to Ghana and create films about black history without Hollywood's filters. He mentioned plans to write a book on political change and activism, something young people could actually use. In one recording from September 3rd, just 4 days before he was shot, Tupac said he felt like he was living on borrowed time, not because of enemies or rap beefs, but because everything around him was moving too fast and slipping out of his control. These tapes showed a man trying to figure out how to escape the persona he had built. He created the image of a fearless thug who didn't care about consequences, yet privately he was planning a future that looked nothing like that. The contrast was startling. Investigators realized they were watching someone who desperately wanted a way out, but hadn't yet found a way to leave without destroying everything he had built. Then they saw the BMW sitting on a hydraulic lift in the back, and suddenly everything made terrifying sense.
We didn't really know it was going to have any historical significance at that point. It was fixed and then sold to the general public, probably at an auction, something like that.
The car was a black BMW 750 IL, the exact same model Tupac had been riding in when he was shot in Las Vegas. But this one was pristine, never driven, and the registration documents showed he had purchased it 3 weeks before his death. The keys were in a workbench drawer, along with a handwritten note that read, "Exit plan, New York or Ghana. Decide by October." Investigators opened the trunk and found 2 large duffel bags packed with items that made their blood run cold. Inside were 2 passports, one real, and one that appeared to be fake with a different name. There was $80,000 in cash, vacuum sealed in plastic bags, international phone cards, a handwritten list of contacts in Jamaica, Cuba, and several African countries. Additional financial documents revealed that Tupac had been quietly converting assets into cash and moving money into offshore accounts that death row couldn't access. Every piece of evidence pointed to the same conclusion. Tupac Shakur was preparing to disappear, and this BMW was meant to be his getaway car. But what investigators found under the driver's seat raised questions that still have no clear answers today. Recently, Keith D has written a book and made TV appearances describing his involvement in Tupac's death. Under the seat, detectives found a small leather journal filled with entries from the week before the shooting. Tupac wrote about feeling watched, convinced someone was tracking his movements and monitoring his plans. He expressed concern about death row's criminal connections and a growing fear that he had become a liability to dangerous people. In the entry dated September 5th, 2 days before he died, Tupac wrote about trying to cancel the Las Vegas trip multiple times. He said he felt pressure to go anyway, even though his instincts told him to stay away. The final entry was dated the morning of September 7th, 1996, the day he was shot. It contained a single sentence written in Tupac's own handwriting. "If tonight goes wrong, the BMW knows where to take them. Keys under the seat, package in the trunk. Tell Mom I tried." That one line suggested Tupac may have arranged for someone else to use the BMW if anything happened to him, possibly to get his mother and family out of danger. But whoever that person was never came forward after the shooting, and the car remained untouched in police evidence storage for years.
Recently, Keefe D has written a book and made TV appearances detailing his involvement in Tupac's death.
Under the seat, detectives found a small leather journal filled with entries from the week before the shooting. Tupac wrote about feeling watched, convinced someone was tracking his movements and monitoring his plans. He expressed concern about death row's criminal connections and a growing fear that he'd become a liability to dangerous people. In the entry dated September 5th, 2 days before he died, Tupac wrote about trying to cancel the Las Vegas trip multiple times. He said he felt pressure to go anyway, even though his instincts told him to stay away. The final entry was dated the morning of September 7th, 1996, the day he was shot. It contained a single sentence written in Tupac's own handwriting. If tonight goes wrong, the BMW knows where to take them. Keys under the seat, package in the trunk. Tell Mom I tried. That one line suggested Tupac may have arranged for someone else to use the BMW if anything happened to him, possibly get his mother and family out of danger. But whoever that person was never came forward after the shooting, and the car remained untouched in police evidence storage for years.
Bragging that he's the one who handed Orlando Anderson a gun, and subsequently that gun is used to shoot Tupac.
The garage discovery changed everything about how people understood Tupac's final days. He wasn't living recklessly or simply waiting for something bad to happen. He was actively planning an escape, building a new business, preparing for an entirely different life, and trying to protect the people he loved if everything collapsed. The binders full of business plans, the video diaries, the secret BMW loaded with cash and alternate passports. None of it aligned with the public image of a fearless rapper who chased danger. So what does all of this really mean? And why did Tupac feel he needed an escape plan in the first place? The evidence suggests he was caught between two worlds. He had created a larger-than-life persona that made him famous and kept him relevant. But that same persona was slowly destroying him. The death row lifestyle, the conflicts, the constant expectation to be the toughest and most fearless, it was all becoming too much. He wanted to evolve into something different. Someone who made films, uplifted communities, and built lasting institutions. But he didn't know how to make that transformation without losing everything he had worked so hard to build.
He's openly saying that he's, a significant part of this whole murder. How many times are you going to go on TV and say that before somebody's going to have to take some sort of action?
The philanthropic work Tupac had been doing in secret proved he genuinely cared about uplifting others. Even while his music and public persona suggested otherwise, his record label plans demonstrated a keen understanding of the industry and a vision to build something independent. The video diaries revealed a self-aware and thoughtful man, not the reckless thug the media portrayed. And the BMW, the escape plan, showed he recognized the danger he was in and that it was intensifying. When investigators finalized their report on the garage's contents, they concluded that Tupac Shakur's death was not just a loss of a talented artist. It was a destruction of a carefully planned transformation that could have reshaped hip-hop entirely. All those binders, tapes, and the secret BMW were more than possessions. They were evidence of a future that never came to be. A second act meticulously plotted that was erased on a Las Vegas street 5 months before anyone even knew he was planning it.
Match him up and say, wow, these are the same type of rounds that are in Tupac. Obviously, that kicks things up considerably. Will that happen? I think probably not 26 years later, but certainly it's something that they're going to have to take a look at.
The garage kept Tupac's secret safe until it was too late to matter. Looking back at everything investigators found inside, it's impossible not to wonder what hip-hop would look like today if Tupac had made it to October, if he had carried out that exit plan, driven the BMW to the airport, and disappeared to Ghana as he had written. The world lost more than just a rapper that night in 1996. It lost all the possibilities contained in those duffel bags and written in those binders, locked away in a garage no one was supposed to see. Subscribe, like, and comment to share why this story resonates with you.